Welcome to the story. Don't forget to like, subscribe and support me. Arthur stood at the edge of the ancient library, the moonlight filtering through stained glass windows and casting colorful patterns on the stone floor. The air was thick with the scent of aged parchment and the whisper of forgotten secrets. As a young human guardian, his duty was to protect the sacred soul contracts and mystical agreements that had granted humanity extraordinary powers for generations. Yet, despite his role, a sense of unease gnawed at him, a yearning for something more, something different. The world they inhabited was a tapestry of diverse races: elves with their ethereal grace, dwarves sturdy and resolute, and myriad other beings, each adding their unique thread to the fabric of society. Humans, empowered by the soul contracts, had risen to prominence, governing with abilities that seemed almost divine. But with great power came great restrictions. The contracts imposed strict terms, limiting human autonomy and ensuring that no single race could challenge their dominance entirely. Arthur had always admired the strength and unity of his people, but lately, he couldn't shake the feeling that the contracts were a double-edged sword. They provided power, yes, but at the cost of freedom and true equality among all races. His restless nights were spent poring over ancient texts, searching for answers, seeking a way to bridge the widening gap between humans and their neighbors. Tonight, his search had led him to a secluded section of the library, where dusty tomes and forgotten scrolls lay hidden from casual seekers. As he carefully opened an old manuscript, his eyes caught a peculiar symbol: a broken circle intertwined with a serpent. It was a symbol he had seen before, in fragments, scattered across various documents. Could this be the key to understanding the true nature of the soul contracts? Lost in thought, Arthur didn't notice the soft footsteps approaching until a gentle voice broke his concentration. "You shouldn't be here alone, Arthur." He looked up to see Lena, the elf spirit mentor, standing gracefully beside him. Her presence was calming, her eyes reflecting centuries of wisdom and empathy. Lena had always been a source of guidance, her understanding of the contracts deep and nuanced. She had become a silent ally in Arthur's quest for knowledge, offering insights that went beyond the surface of their agreements. "Lena," Arthur greeted, closing the manuscript gently, "I didn't expect to see you tonight." She offered a small smile, her silvery hair cascading over her shoulders. "I sensed your unease. The contracts weigh heavily on many, not just you." Arthur sighed, running a hand through his tousled hair. "There has to be a way to change things, to make the contracts more equitable. I found something at this symbol. I think it might be a loophole, a way to lessen the restrictions." Lena stepped closer, her eyes narrowing as she examined the symbol. "The broken circle and serpent. This signifies transformation and rebirth. Perhaps there is merit to your discovery. But tread carefully, Arthur. The contracts are ancient and complex. Tampering with them could have unforeseen consequences." He nodded, his determination unwavering. "I understand the risks, but if there's even a chance to create a fairer world, it's worth exploring." Lena placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "Very well. Let's delve deeper together. But remember, knowledge is power, and power must be wielded responsibly." As they immersed themselves in the manuscript, hours melted away. The symbols, once cryptic, began to reveal their secrets. It seemed that certain clauses within the contracts were open to interpretation, granting humans more autonomy than previously thought. If Arthur could harness these loopholes, perhaps they could renegotiate the terms, shifting the balance of power toward true equality. Their breakthrough was met with a mixture of excitement and apprehension. Arthur knew that altering the contracts would not be easy, and opposition was inevitable. The contracts had long been the foundation of human supremacy, upheld by strict guardianship and unwavering belief in their righteousness. The next morning, Arthur convened a meeting with trusted allies, fellow guardians and representatives from other races who shared his vision of a more balanced society. Among them was Sarah, an embodiment of an ancient spirit who had grown disillusioned with humanity's misuse of the contracts. Her presence was both ethereal and commanding, her eyes holding the weight of countless lifetimes. We have an opportunity to redefine our relationship with the ancient spirits, author began, his voice steady. By leveraging the loopholes we've discovered, we can modify the contracts to allow for greater autonomy and equality among all races. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the room, but not everyone was convinced. Mord, a stern and loyal human guardian, stood resolute in his opposition. His presence was imposing, his loyalty to the existing order unshakable. Arthur, Mord interjected, his tone firm. You speak of change, but what you propose threatens the very foundation of our society. The contracts have ensured human dominance for centuries. Altering them could lead to chaos and the downfall of everything we've built. Arthur met Mord's gaze unwaveringly. I believe that true strength lies in unity and cooperation, not dominance and control. The current system breeds resentment and division. It's time for a new era of equality. Mord's eyes narrowed, a flicker of internal conflict evident. You underestimate the complexities of these contracts. They were designed to maintain balance, not to oppress. Tampering with them could invite the wrath of the ancient spirits. Sarah stepped forward, her voice resonating with authority. Mord, the contracts were never meant to stifle humanity's potential. They were agreements, meant to foster cooperation and mutual respect. If you've grown disillusioned with their current implementation, perhaps it's time to reassess. Mord's resolve wavered, but he remained steadfast. I cannot support actions that jeopardize our people. If you proceed, know that I will do everything in my power to stop you. With that, he turned and left the room, leaving behind a tense silence. Author felt the weight of Mord's opposition but also the spark of hope ignited by Sarah's support. The path ahead was fraught with challenges, but the promise of a more just and equal society fueled his determination. Days turned into weeks as Arthur and his allies meticulously planned their rebellion. They conducted clandestine meetings, strategized ways to exploit the loopholes without alerting the other guardians, and built a network of supporters across different races. Lena provided invaluable insights, her deep understanding of the contracts guiding their every move. However, as their plans progressed, Mord's suspicions grew. He had always been vigilant, but recent anomalies within the contracts hinted at possible tampering. Determined to uncover the truth, Mord intensified his investigations, scrutinizing every guardian and their actions. One evening, as Arthur and Lena reviewed their latest findings, Mord confronted them in the library. His presence was both authoritative and intimidating, his eyes burning with suspicion. Arthur, Lena, Mord began, his voice laced with accusation. I've been tracking irregularities within the contracts, and my investigations lead me here. What are you two hiding? Arthur stood his ground, meeting Mord's gaze with calm defiance. We're seeking a way to improve the contracts, to make them fairer for everyone. Is that a crime? Mord's expression hardened. Improving them? You're tampering with forces beyond your understanding. The contracts maintain order and balance. Without them, chaos will reign. Lena stepped forward, her voice soothing yet firm. Mord, change is inevitable. The contracts were never meant to be static. They should evolve as our society does. Mord shook his head, his frustration palpable. You don't understand the consequences. The ancient spirits will not take kindly to our meddling. We're risking everything for an unproven ideal. Author took a deep breath, his resolve unwavering. Sometimes, the only way to protect our people is to adapt and grow. Holding on to outdated systems only hinders our progress. Mord's eyes flickered with a mixture of anger and sadness. I hoped you would see reason, Arthur. But it seems you're determined to pursue a path of destruction. Before the confrontation could escalate further, a sudden disturbance echoed through the library. A brilliant light filled the room as Sarah made her presence known, her form shimmering with otherworldly energy. Enough, Sarah's voice commanded, silencing the tension. Both of you are driven by noble intentions, but the path you're on is perilous. The ancient spirits must be approached with respect and caution. She turned to Mord, her eyes filled with empathy. Your loyalty is commendable, Mord, but perhaps there is a way to honor both tradition and progress. Mord hesitated, the conflict within him evident. Syrah's intervention provided a moment of clarity, a chance to find common ground amidst the turmoil. Author seized the opportunity, stepping closer. Syrah is right. We don't have to destroy what exists. We can work together to create a better future. Syrah nodded, her presence calming the storm. The contracts are not merely tools of power but agreements of mutual benefit. To alter them requires not just knowledge but a deep understanding of their essence. With Syrah's guidance, Arthur and his allies delved deeper into the intricacies of the contracts. They learned that the ancient spirits had designed the agreements with foresight, allowing for flexibility and growth. The loopholes they had discovered were not flaws but intentional openings meant to be explored responsibly. As their understanding deepened, so did their approach. Instead of outright rebellion, they began advocating for renegotiation, presenting their findings to other guardians and leaders from various races. The message of equality and mutual respect resonated with many, but resistance remained strong, particularly from those like Mord who feared the unknown. The tension reached a boiling point when a member of Arthur's coalition betrayed them, leaking their plans to Mord. The revelation sent shockwaves through their movement, leading to a significant setback. Arthur and his closest allies were forced to go into hiding, their efforts temporarily derailed by mistrust and fear. Mord, now fully committed to stopping them, intensified his pursuit. The once united front among the Guardians began to fracture, as old loyalties clashed with emerging alliances. The balance of power teetered precariously, and the future of their society hung in the balance. Amidst the chaos, Syrah reappeared, her expression grave. Arthur, the spirits have taken notice of our actions. They're concerned about the instability their contracts are experiencing. Arthur felt a surge of urgency. We need to act quickly, before the situation spirals out of control. Syrah nodded. There is still time to mend what has been disrupted, but it will require sacrifice and unwavering determination. With renewed resolve, Arthur and his allies rallied, determined to overcome the obstacles in their path. They knew that the journey ahead would be fraught with challenges, but the vision of a harmonious and equitable world fueled their every step. Arthur felt a surge of urgency course through him as Syrah's warning echoed in his mind. The instability within the soul contracts threatened not only their movement but the very fabric of their society. He glanced around at his closest allies, their faces etched with determination and fear. There was no turning back now. We need to move quickly, Arthur declared, his voice steady despite the chaos surrounding them. If the spirits are noticing the disturbances, we must find a way to stabilize the contracts before they take drastic measures. Syrah nodded, her ethereal form shimmering with a soft glow. There is a ritual, ancient and powerful, that can realign the contracts. It requires both human and spirit cooperation. Without it, the contracts may become permanently fractured, leading to unpredictable consequences. Arthur turned to Mord, who had been pursuing them relentlessly. The tension between them was palpable, but there was a glimmer of something more in Mord's eyes, a understanding, perhaps, or regret. Mord, Arthur began, taking a cautious step forward. We need your help. You understand the contracts better than anyone. Together, we can perform the ritual and restore balance. Mord hesitated, his stern facade wavering. Why should I trust you, Arthur? You've betrayed everything we stand for. Arthur met his gaze, unwavering. Because what we're doing isn't about betrayal. It's about survival. It's about ensuring a future where all races can coexist peacefully. The current system is unsustainable. Mord's jaw tightened, but he didn't turn away. If we do this, there's no going back. The contracts will change forever. Arthur nodded. I understand the gravity of what we're undertaking. But sometimes, change is necessary for growth. We can't continue down a path that leads to division and resentment. Syrah stepped forward, her presence commanding attention. Mord is right to be cautious. This ritual is not without risks. But the alternative via continued unrest and potential rebellion poses an even greater threat. Mord took a deep breath, the weight of his responsibilities evident in his expression. "Alright, I'll help, but we do this my way. No more secrets or half measures." Arthur extended his hand, and Mord took it firmly. Agreed. Together, with Mord on their side, the group felt a renewed sense of purpose. They knew that time was of the essence. The spirits were growing restless, and the longer they waited, the more unstable the contracts would become. They convened in the heart of the ancient library, where the oldest manuscripts and relics were kept perfect for performing the ritual that required both knowledge and sacred space. Lena guided them to a secluded chamber, its walls adorned with intricate carvings depicting the history of the soul contracts. In the center stood a stone altar, its surface etched with the same broken circle and serpent symbol that had first sparked Arthur's curiosity. "We need to channel our energies here," Lena explained, her voice calm and authoritative. "The altar serves as a focal point for the ritual, amplifying our intentions and aligning them with the ancient magic of the contracts." Arthur, Mord, Sarah, and Lena formed a circle around the altar, their hands joined. The air hummed with anticipation as they began to recite the incantations inscribed on the altar. The room filled with a soft, pulsating light, and the symbols on the walls seemed to come alive, resonating with the power of their united will. As the ritual progressed, Arthur felt a deep connection to the contracts, a sense of understanding that transcended his previous knowledge. Memories and emotions from countless generations of humans and spirits flooded his mind, revealing the true purpose behind the agreements. The contracts were not meant to enslave but to create a symbiotic relationship, a balance of power and mutual respect. Suddenly, the light intensified, and a swirling vortex of energy materialized above the altar. From within the vortex emerged the ancient spirits, their forms shifting and shimmering like mist caught in a perpetual dance. The air crackled with their presence, and the temperature in the room fluctuated as if reflecting their emotions. One spirit, more luminous and imposing than the others, stepped forward. "You have invoked the sacred ritual," it intoned, its voice echoing with timeless authority. "Explain your intentions, mortals, for the balance of all races now hangs in the balance." Arthur stepped forward, his heart pounding. "We seek to restore the true essence of the soul contracts, to ensure that they promote equality and mutual respect among all races, rather than enforcing dominance and control." The spirit regarded him thoughtfully. "For centuries, the contracts have maintained order and harmony. Yet, imbalance can occur when one side misinterprets or misuses the power granted. What changes do you propose?" Arthur took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment. "We believe that the contracts can be redefined to allow for greater autonomy and equality. Humans can still benefit from the powers granted, but without absolute dominance. Other races should have equal standing and the freedom to govern themselves without fear of subjugation." Mord stepped forward, adding his voice to the plea. "We have seen the cracks in our society, the resentment and tension that threaten our unity. It is time to evolve, to create a system where all can thrive together." The spirit seemed to consider their words, the room growing silent except for the soft hum of energy. After a moment that felt like an eternity, it spoke again. "Change is inevitable, and the contracts were always meant to adapt with the ages. However, this process requires trust, sacrifice, and unwavering commitment to the greater good." Sarah, her form radiant, addressed the assembly. "We are prepared to make the necessary sacrifices. We seek harmony and a future where all races can coexist peacefully." The spirit nodded slowly. "Very well. The ritual must proceed. Each of you must offer a part of yourselves to realign the contracts. Only through unity and shared sacrifice can true balance be achieved." One by one, Arthur, Mord, Lena, and Sarah stepped forward, placing their hands on the altar. A surge of energy enveloped them, binding their essences to the contracts. Pain and power intertwined as their spirits merged with the ancient magic, each offering a piece of themselves to facilitate the change. Arthur felt his consciousness expand, connecting with the very soul of the contracts. Memories of past guardians, moments of triumph and failure, flooded his mind. He saw the contracts not as tools of oppression but as bridges between races, meant to foster cooperation and mutual growth. Mord, too, experienced a transformation. His rigid beliefs began to soften as he understood the true purpose behind the contracts. The power he had once wielded to enforce dominance now became a force for equality and protection. Lena's wisdom deepened, her understanding of the contracts reaching new heights. She became a beacon of guidance, ensuring that the new order would honor the ancient agreements while embracing the necessary changes. Sarah, embodying the spirit of change, found her place as a mediator between the mortal and spirit realms. Her role was crucial in maintaining the newfound balance, ensuring that both sides respected and upheld their end of the agreements. As the ritual reached its climax, the light in the chamber intensified, enveloping everyone present. The spirits chanted in unison, their voices harmonizing with the newly realigned contracts. The energy swirled around them, binding the changes into the very fabric of their world. A brilliant flash of light filled the room, and when it faded, the atmosphere had shifted. The oppressive weight of the old contracts had lifted, replaced by a sense of liberation and hope. The ancient spirits, now satisfied with the progress, began to withdraw, their forms dissipating like morning mist. Arthur opened his eyes, feeling a profound sense of accomplishment and relief. The contracts had been rewritten, their terms redefined to promote equality and mutual respect. The power they had once used to dominate was now a shared resource, ensuring that no single race could ever again enforce absolute control. Mort stood beside him, a newfound sense of purpose in his gaze. "We did it," he said, his voice tinged with awe. "But our work is far from over." Arthur nodded, looking around at his allies. "No, it's just the beginning. We have to ensure that the new contracts are honored and that all races work together to maintain this balance." Lena stepped forward, her presence calming and reassuring. "We must establish a council, representing all races, to oversee the implementation and maintenance of the new contracts. Unity is essential for lasting peace." Sarah, her form radiant, added, "And the spirits will continue to watch over us, guiding us as needed. But the true strength now lies within each of us and our commitment to harmony." The group dispersed from the chamber, their hearts light with hope and determination. The journey ahead would be challenging, but the foundation they had laid promised a future where all races could coexist in peace and equality. In the weeks that followed, the changes began to take root. The council, comprised of representatives from humans, elves, dwarves, and other races, met regularly to discuss and implement the new terms of the soul contracts. Policies were enacted to ensure fair distribution of power, and initiatives were launched to foster collaboration and understanding among the different communities. Arthur assumed a leadership role within the council, his passion and dedication inspiring others to work towards a common goal. Mord, once a staunch enforcer of the old order, became a vocal advocate for the new system, his transformation serving as a testament to the power of change and redemption. Lena continued to mentor Arthur and the other council members, her wisdom guiding them through the complexities of the new contracts. Sarah remained a steadfast ally, her presence a reminder of the spirit's enduring support and the importance of maintaining balance. As the new order solidified, the tensions that had once plagued their society began to ease. Former rivalries gave way to alliances, and the collaborative spirit that had been dormant for so long began to flourish once more. Communities that had been divided by power struggles now worked together, united by the shared goal of a harmonious future. One evening, as Arthur stood on a balcony overlooking the bustling city below, he felt a sense of fulfillment he had never known before. The journey had been arduous, filled with challenges and sacrifices, but the rewards were immeasurable. He watched as people from different races mingled, their interactions free from the fear and resentment that had once defined their relationships. Mord joined him, the two men sharing a moment of quiet reflection. "We've come a long way," Mord said, a hint of pride in his voice. Arthur smiled, nodding. "And there's still so much more to do. But for the first time, I believe we can truly achieve lasting peace." Mord placed a hand on his shoulder. "Together, we can make sure that the sacrifices we've made were not in vain." As night descended, the city sparkled with lights and the promise of a new beginning. The ancient contracts, once a source of division, had been transformed into a beacon of unity and cooperation. The world they inhabited was not perfect, but it was a testament to the strength found in diversity and the power of collective will. Years passed, and the legacy of Arthur and his allies became a cornerstone of their society. The council they had established continued to guide their world with wisdom and fairness, adapting to new challenges as they arose. The spirit realm, once distant and aloof, became an integral part of their community, the spirits and mortals working side by side to uphold the balance they had fought so hard to achieve. Arthur, now an elder statesman, looked back on his journey with a sense of pride and contentment. He had started as a disillusioned young guardian, yearning for change, and had become a leader who had reshaped the very foundation of their society. His relationship with Mord had evolved from adversaries to trusted allies, their shared experiences forging an unbreakable bond. One day, as Arthur walked through a thriving marketplace, he encountered a group of young guardians, their eyes filled with curiosity and ambition. They reminded him of himself, eager to make a difference and shape the future. He approached them with a warm smile. "Welcome. What questions do you have about the soul contracts?" A young elf stepped forward, her voice filled with determination. "We want to ensure that the progress we've made continues." "How did you overcome the resistance and unite the different races?" Arthur reflected for a moment before answering. "It wasn't easy. It took trust, open communication, and a willingness to listen and adapt. We had to put aside our differences and work towards a common goal. Remember, true strength lies in our ability to cooperate and respect one another." The young guardians nodded, inspired by his words. Arthur felt a sense of hope wash over him, knowing that the future was in capable hands. The principles they had established would guide them, ensuring that the sacrifices of the past would pave the way for a brighter tomorrow. As the sun set, casting a golden hue over the horizon, Arthur knew that their world was on the right path. The soul contracts, once a source of conflict, had become a symbol of unity and shared purpose. The journey had been long and fraught with challenges, but the reward was a harmonious society where all races could thrive together. In the quiet moments of reflection, Arthur often thought about the path they had taken and the lessons they had learned. Power, when wielded responsibly, could be a force for good. Equality and mutual respect were not just ideals to strive for but foundations upon which a just and enduring society could be built. The legacy of the soul contracts had been transformed, their true purpose realized through the courage and determination of those who dared to challenge the status quo. The bonds they had forged, both with each other and with the ancient spirits, ensured that their world would continue to evolve, guided by the principles of unity, equality, and shared prosperity. As night fully embraced the land, Arthur stood beneath the stars, feeling a deep sense of peace. The struggles and sacrifices had been worth it, for he had witnessed the birth of a new era, one where all races stood as equals, united by their shared history and their commitment to a harmonious future. The soul contracts, once a symbol of dominance, had become a testament to the enduring power of unity and the limitless potential that arises when diverse beings come together for the greater good. The story of Arthur, Lena, Mord, and Sarah became a legend, a reminder of what can be achieved when individuals rise above their differences and work towards a common goal. Their legacy lived on in the hearts and minds of future generations, inspiring them to uphold the values of equality, respect, and cooperation. And so, the world they had fought so hard to create continued to flourish, a beacon of hope and harmony in a once tumultuous realm. The soul contracts, now redefined and respected by all, ensured that the balance of power remained just and fair, a foundation upon which a peaceful and prosperous society could thrive for generations to come.